BK.
Yeah, yep. Hey, we're live at this point right now.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Sorry,
morning, Soto.
sorry, I was mute. I just got a point, so I
Uh,
wanted to. Sorry, go ahead.
no, that's good. I got the zone already built. I've had it built here as well. I just didn't take the trade, but yeah, that was a good trade right there. And you'll see my chart's already built. I'm gonna go ahead and move this disclaimer so everybody can kind of start to see the chart there. But take the time to read the disclaimer, guys. But welcome. This is Titan Futures. We're getting started a couple minutes early here, and we're going to go ahead and we got Soto jumping in the trade. I already made a point, which is awesome. So that's what we want to see. The opportunity was there prior to 9 o'clock, and we went ahead and took it, which was great. So good job, Soto. Kind of walk us through this trade real quick, and then we'll kind of introduce the show.
Yeah. Again, I'm sorry, but it came up perfectly. So I had a zone for my supply zone at 750. The 750 candle on the 5 minute on the E-mini market. As you can see, BK also has it on his chart. And then I placed a trade. Let's see, 20. I think it was 2862.5.
Perfect. Yeah.
I think it tells me it picks me up. Yeah, 2862.5. Yeah, they're staying true there. And I'll be emailing you this in a minute here. And then I got my target at 2861.5, obviously 1 point profit there. And
Nice
then
job.
I entered in that position just simply based on, I had two potential entry points, depending on volume and how things look. But I went on the higher end and in the mid range. The mid range was my 2862.5, and I did that just based on looking back, touches, opening closes, and where I feel comfortable for to give me that room for error. Based on also, if you go back a little bit to the 445 candle, there's a little resistance there. So that was a good spot for me to get in and be able to take a couple of ticks of heat for that room to allow me room for error. So I took one tick of heat, which like BK has mentioned, we have to take a tick of heat. And I got my point very quick, and I was actually talking, and I had my mic on mute, but got it, and now we're just seeing what happens. But got the point to it.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Nice job. Yeah, I mean, it
Thank
was a
you.
perfectly drawn zone, and everything set up very nicely and gave you a great entry, and obviously that's very good. That just goes to prove one more time that you can take a trade and have just a small risk of a point and make your point, and technically you'd be done before we ever even started today, you know. So uh, that's the beauty of it. So you got your 1 point, which is this is all about getting 1 point. It's a one point challenge, so to speak, here, and that's what's and Soto's kind of proven to you that hey, if we can make 1 point a day, and let your account grow, it will compound exponentially, and that's what he's done already today. Is made that 1 point. So nice job, Soto.
Thank you.
So all right, well guys, if you're here, really appreciate you. If you're watching this video on replay, really appreciate you. Please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. We want to kind of grow this channel organically, but also we want this channel to be the best free educational um, futures trading channel on YouTube. So we're constantly trying to make it better and increase the productivity of it, the professionalism of it. This is a new venture for both of us and Mitch as well. So Mitch will be joining us a little bit later. Mitchell will. So it's a new adventure for all of us. But thank you for jumping on. And I'm going to read just a little bit about the channel itself. So if you're not looking in the description, you can go find this in the description. But just kind of want to tell you just briefly about the channel. So what you kind of see in the description, we have, just we start off with just some of our social media links, and we have an auto trader product that's something that you can really check out. It's just doing awesome. So check that out if you'd like to see that. I'm not going to push that, but the links are there so you can watch some videos and learn more about it. But this channel is basically as a free channel. We want to talk about trading, and that anyone can do it. You just have to be willing to take the time. It doesn't matter if you're brand new or you've been trading for 20 plus years like I have, you can learn to do this and do it very successfully. So we want this to be a positive environment, very respectful, a stress-free, and very encouraging place for you to come and learn the markets if that's something you want to do. So there's no dumb questions. You're not too new to trade and to learn to trade, and you're not too experienced to learn a new way to trade, or to kind of get back just to being the basics of trading. So I want you to join the channel and subscribe and become part of this community here that we're trying to grow. And I think we'll grow because of what we provide, and we just want to be a good, positive experience in your trading career or your learning and your trading endeavor, I guess you could say. So read the description. It's very basic, but we'll kind of tell you a little bit about who we are. Yeah, there'll be 3 of us on the channel you'll be hearing. Right now it's myself, BK, and Soto, but you'll also be hearing Mitchell just a few minutes later. He'll come in, but we'll be the ones kind of moderating the channel, so to speak, and we're all traders of the method, and we're kind of, you'll hear our thoughts and processes just like you did, Soto, just a second ago. But check us out. Subscribe to the channel again. Be respectful when you come into the chat. Ask questions. A lot of interaction here. That's really what we want. But just be positive, respectful, encourage each other. And the golden rule: treat others the way you want to be treated. Right? So no bad language, no negative comments. This is a learning channel for everybody. It's free, so we're definitely putting our time in here. But we want you to learn stress-free. That's the big deal here. Okay, so take your time, look around the channel, watch the videos. You'll see we're still putting the method onto the channel, so I didn't get a video up last night on the supply and demand like I was hoping, but I'll get that done today, so we can kind of add the fourth piece into the method. But you'll learn a little bit about today, and you'll see us drawing on the chart these green zones and red zones, and those are supply and demand zones around support and resistance areas, which is where it all tends to happen. So thanks a lot for taking the time to join us, and we look forward to answering any of the questions you have. So with that being said, we kind of made the introductions and read descriptions of the channel, so we're ready to trade. And Soto's already one up on the day, so very good job. You can actually see a zone that's drawn on my chart right here. It looks like it's busted through the zone now, but what was cool about it, it gave us our entry and our point that we needed based on our criteria already, which was great. So nice job, Soto. We got in prior to 9 o'clock, actually. It was his trade, so it happened extremely quick. I mean, Soto, how long did it take for that trade to happen?
Just seconds. I mean, I was trying to press unmute. I realized I was talking, and that's how long it took. I already had made the point at the time I pressed unmute, so
cool.
Very, very quick.
Yeah, nice. Very good. That's awesome. And that's what you're going to find here. The more you're here, you're going to realize trades happen very quick here. Okay, and we're not in trades for long periods of time, which is great. Trades happen very fast, and we get in, we get out, and we move on, so which is awesome. Good morning, Paul. Nice to see you here this morning. Soto's already made his point, so doing what Soto does, and just knocking it out of the park, man. He's making them points left and right. So John, happy to have you here, man. But anyway, we'll kind of watch. We'll kind of see a couple areas zones I've got drawn. I've got a big zone drawn, as you can see on the chart here. I have that's from an hourly time frame. Okay, that's a supply zone from an hourly chart. So that's definitely an area we're going to have to watch because there's going to be some action in there. So we want to try to narrow that down for us as far as a trading zone, but we know there's going to be opportunity right in that area to if it gets up there and our checklist has kind of made itself ready, then at that point there will be a trade opportunity at some point in time in that zone, and we're going to have to look for that and kind of study and watch that. Okay, so that's what you're seeing here.
Perfect. Yeah, I think people watching will maybe ask right now, okay, broke through that zone, our I need to mark this down. 750 zone. Will you consider using that zone now? Has it was a supply zone. Now it broke through. Okay, you got your.
Hey, Mitchell's trying to jump in here and check us out, so let me try to figure a way. Mitchell, you there?
I got you. I can hear you.
Okay.
Can y'all hear me?
I gotta try to mute you in here. I mean, merge you in here just a second.
Perfect. Yeah, we have morning meetings from 8 to about 8:30. I got out early this morning.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so we're on the call. I'm sure everybody can kind of hear you, so you're live. Just so you know. But let me see if I can get us merged back in here so Soto we can join in this conversation. Soto, you there?
I can hear you now.
Yeah, were you able to hear Mitchell talking?
No.
Okay, that's good. Okay. Yeah, but he's here, so I'm trying to get everybody back in here.
Okay.
All right. Do we hear everybody hear each other?
Hey.
Just cleaned up.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, Soto. Just
Yeah, that was on me. My bad.
oh, that's all right. No worries. Just trying to, like I said, I'm trying to merge the calls here so everybody can be on, but it's not allowing me to do that, and I'm sure everybody's enjoying hearing our conversation about it. But dang.
Should we both hang up and have us call you, or would that help?
I'm trying to hang him up so I can call him. Let me hang you up you're with me. Let me hang up on you, and then I'll call you back.
Okay.
All right, Mitchell, you hear me?
I got you.
All right, I gotta call Soto now. I wasn't able to merge in, so let me try to call Soto.
No problem.
Soto, you there?
I'm here.
Mitchell, you there? Oh, really? That's funny.
Hello.
Mitchell, we got you. All right.
Perfect.
Soto, you on?
I can hear both of y'all.
All right, excellent. So everybody should be into the stream now. So guys, sorry about that. If you're watching the channel here, sorry about that. We just had to try to get everybody in on the call there, but I think we're all here at this point, and I think you can hear all of us. So we should be good to go at this point. All right. Sorry. Go ahead, Soto. What you were talking about the zone now that has been it was supply, and that's now potentially becoming a demand area. So we can kind of talk through that a little bit. I don't like it yet as a demand area just because I don't have I got a lot of rejection on this 905 candle there, the big candle that busted through it. I have a lot of rejection out of that right now, and especially being into another higher time frame zone. I think we're going to get up there, and could this act as temporary demand to get up into that higher zone? Then potentially, yeah. It's just not my ideal setup yet to turn that into a demand zone on this. And we're talking about the 750 zone, turning it into a demand zone at this point. I'm just not comfortable doing that yet. It might work out that way, but just not something I'm going to do just yet. I'm just going to be patient and kind of wait for price to get into my higher time zone here, and just kind of wait and see what happens. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense.
All right.
So you just wait. So typically you would switch a supply zone to a demand zone, and vice versa. It first has to take off out of that zone. You start seeing rejection coming back to that zone, and that makes you feel comfortable to reuse that zone as a new supply, in this case, demand zone. Correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I just want to see. As starting at the and the reason I don't want this to be a demand zone at the moment is because at the 905, the big candle that busted right through it, it just has such a big rejection wick. And then the very next candle, the 910, we have doji, and then the next 915 we have rejection. So a big rejection wick on that candle. So obviously there's a lot of sellers right there, right? And if you look to the left-hand side, you've got was support is acting as resistance right now. So if I turn that zone right there into a demand zone at this point, it's gonna, it might work out, but it's just not the ideal situation for me to be able to catch a good run. So a lot of rejection right now, pushing out. So I just don't feel comfortable with all the overhead selling, that the pressure that's going to be on and right now over the next few minutes. So I want to get in where the buyers are going to push fast and hard. The institution's going to come in and run up. I want to get in with the big boys here. So this is not the spot for me to do that, in my opinion, in my experience. That's all. It could very well take off and do it, but it's just not the ideal situation for me at this point. So
what about the 855 zone as a demand zone?
The 855, let me find that. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's definitely another demand zone to the potential upside. If we can get kind of down in there, absolutely. It qualifies for sure. So we'll kind of watch that and see how that reacts. I'd be more comfortable letting price get down into that area if I were going to try to go long. I'd be more comfortable looking for a trade in that area if all our rules are met to go long. So versus right back right here. We're going to have some little bounce going on right here. We know that, but that's not the best situation for me at this point. We'll just kind of watch it. So Mitchell, since you're just jumping on, Soto, we opened the room this morning with Soto making a point right out of the bat, right out of the gate there, which was good. So he got this zone was drawn early on this morning. It was a good zone at the 755 zone that we've got the candle there for. It was a good supply area, and I think he went in at 6250, Soto. Is that
correct? Right? 28, 62.5. That's good.
62.5. Yeah, so that was really good. Made his quick little point, took one tick of heat, and Soto's off to the golf course right now. Should be.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What do y'all think about 2861.25 on that 855 zone? Because I think our candle is easing its way right in there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, let's see here.
Say that again. What was the price? 61.5?
Yeah, 61.25.
That's not bad. Just because of all the selling pressure, I'd probably go a little bit lower personally if I was going to get into this trade, just because of all the selling pressure that we know is in this area. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a bad spot at all. So let me see.
Is the order flow showing uncap on top?
No, but two candles previous uncapped, one tick from top of the zone.
Where's the VPOC?
Bottom of the zone, and it's uncapped on the bottom. VPOC's two ticks up from the bottom.
So from a price standpoint, I'm not looking at my order flow. So the price is at around 60, 75-ish.
Right. That's exactly right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I'd definitely be probably looking at one tick above that, around 61. Probably is more conservative if the rest of the if everything else lines up. I'd probably consider a trade around that point if everything lines up.
Volume's definitely not cooperating with us.
Right. Right.
But this time in the morning, it's kind of hard to predict it. They're starting to come in. Volume's starting to increase a little bit.
Yeah, we're getting close to the open. We're only 10 minutes away, so it should start to steadily increase as we move forward.
Are you going to take this trade, Mitchell?
You know, so it's too unpredictable right now for me to do it. I think it looks good right as of now, but with that last spike in volume, it just scares me.
So Paul says we have VPOC at 60, 2860. Do you see that on your order flow? Is that how you're getting that, Paul? It's from an order flow?
Yeah, it's the VPOC's at 2860.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, I just don't have my order flow chart up. So. All right. Good. Good. So I tend to, when I do take trades based on order flow and VPOCs, I definitely will stay one tick above the VPOC personally. So, I mean, I'm not taking this trade right here, but just because of the overall the whole situation, early prior to open and volume kind of popping around and a lot of sellers up here, so. But it would be a 16 and a quarter, just from a standpoint of where I would take a trade out of a VPOC area on a order flow candle. It's always kind of one tick up from the VPOC for me. So did you trade any more last night, Mitchell, or did you call it a day after your 2 points?
I did not. I called it a day after 11 yesterday.
Yeah, good job. Okay, good job.
Which is very, very rare for me. It's I'm trying to train myself with our method here of just get in and get out. Don't stare at it all day. And honestly, it's become a lot more pleasant because you can get obsessed very easily.
Oh yeah, very easily. Very, very easily. And that's why one reason, quite honestly, you'll see me as I talk on the channel. I'm a little more laid back. I'll tend to talk a little bit more sometimes. But as far as taking the trade, I'm very patient. I mean, I'll just stay relaxed. You guys probably end up taking more trades than I usually will, and that's just because, quite honestly, I've done it for a long time, and it's very exciting and addicting. There's no doubt about that. It's very exciting and addicting, and it's just a matter of learning to control that and realize, hey, it's just get it done in a couple of hours or less, and then call it a day, and then show back up again tomorrow. And it's about being consistent, and with everything you're doing from a method standpoint to a time standpoint, it's all about being consistent. And
That was an excellent call on that trade, Brian. It did not respect that zone at all.
no, so we just have.
And what were you seeing that made you believe that? Because if we look at price action on the the 920 candle, it's throwing a rejection wick, kind of signal, saying that, hey, maybe it wants to go the other way.
Right.
Volume, yeah, definitely increased on that candle. But what gave you a kind of a hint that, hey, I don't want to take that trade?
Just visually, it doesn't look right. I mean, it's as simple as that. I just because there's never going to be one thing that says, hey, this is a yes or no on a trade. That's one thing about trading. It's not an absolute. It's not either a black and white situation. There's always, unfortunately, some gray area. Even with our rules and our method, there's a little bit of gray area, and unfortunately, that just is an experience thing that has to fill. But I just did not, even though it sets up, the wick is there, like you said, on the 920 candle. I just don't like the fact that we're so heavily, our sellers are so strong. And if you look at the previous 3 candles, it's all rejection wick to the bottom for the most part, to the downside. So
That
was the top of the candle.
One of my hints that I didn't like was that it was strong rejection up top.
Yeah, so that's just kind of visually you can see that, and it just doesn't look like the ideal situation. And I mean, it's as simple as that. It just didn't look right. Price action tells you a lot of sellers in this area, a lot of strength to the downside. So we're just going to kind of wait, and I'm not getting. Even though it's prior to the actual open in the New York area, obviously the futures are open and running, the pit's open and running earlier there in Chicago, but it just does not look right. It's as simple as that. I don't know how else to say it. No reason to keep explaining it. It just doesn't feel right and look right. So I just stayed out of it. And if it made a good trade, then great. Not a big deal. It wasn't my trade that I felt like I was willing to risk my money on,
Right.
And that's what it ultimately comes down to.
Well, I didn't click it either, so I guess it felt the same for me. I just wasn't quite as sure.
Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah, I mean, that's it. And it's as simple as that. And you guys have done it very well. You've made a lot of trades, and you've grown your account exponentially. So you guys know what you're doing. It's just a matter of trusting yourself and saying, is this the best setup for me to trade today? Is this the best it's going to get? And if I don't think it's the best it's going to get, then I'm not going to make that trade. Simple as that.
I think that's an excellent way to put it. Is this the best it's going to get? I like that a lot. Yeah. And that keeps you from forcing something that may not be the best.
Right on. So we'll just be patient and watch, man. We got 3 minutes to the open, basically, in New York there. So we're going to get some spikes going on here, and we'll wait for that to kind of settle down a little bit and kind of get into some of our areas. I'll back out here on my chart and show you I've got some bigger time frames drawn. Let me see. There's a little bit of delay, so let me know when y'all can see my chart zoomed out here. I'm not sure why we got such a delay, but let me know when you can see that.
Mitchell, after he shows us the chart, what do you have any other zones you're looking at? Have ready for
yeah.
And I'm going to be on mute for a minute, so I won't be able to respond, but I can hear you guys.
Okay. 7:05. 6:15. And 4:35.
All right, we'll pull those up and mark them. 4:35, you said?
435.
Yeah, 615 and 705. Okay.
Right.
But what you'll see on my chart now, I just got this zoomed out. You'll see major areas of demand down here in the bottom in the green, and a major area of supply up top. That's off an hourly time frame. So we know from a big picture standpoint, when we get into that and we start seeing that come up on our screen on our 5 minute chart, we start seeing these greens or this red, these big reds and these big greens, that we know on a larger time frame, the hourly chart, we're definitely going to get some action around there. We should start being able to find some pretty strong trades for our method, even on a 5 minute time frame when we get into those zones. So that's just kind of from a bird's eye. I mean, a kind of a pull out and kind of look from a larger time frame. So just so you can see that, I think it's just good for everybody to kind of see a bigger picture. So let me kind of go back in and we'll mark up. We'll look at the areas that Mitchell's got for zones drawn. So let's check this out. So 705, let's go ahead and hit that one. Let's look at that and talk about that. Yeah, that's a good area, and that happens to be right there at the top, at the beginning of our hourly supply zone. So that's going to be a good area to watch right there. Absolutely. Very good. So 615. Same way as 615. Yep. So those are another. That's another good spot. And 435. Let's look at that 435. Yeah. Perfect. Good job, man. So that's all three great areas of potential trades. They all happen to be around that resistance area on a larger time frame. So we know one of those areas of trading right there are going to really give us a great opportunity to trade, and we just have to watch that. So.
5, 6, 3, 4, 5, 0, 1.
All right. Market's open, so we're moving.
Off to the races.
Yeah, man, we're off and running. So let's kind of watch and see how it wants to play out here. Some pretty good rejection right there, you know, out of the 910 doji, which we kind of expected. So that was some good rejection there. But so that tells you there's still just a lot of selling and the pressure, a lot of selling pressure still going on. So we'll just be patient and watch, guys. Just be patient and watch. From a news standpoint, we got crude oil inventories at 10:30. I think at 10 or 10:30 today. So get a little bit of action, even though it's on a crude oils futures. You're still going to get a little bit of action on the ES in the market, but nothing to just be overly cautious about. We'll kind of just wait and see what's going to happen here trade-wise till then. if you guys are just checking us out on the channel, thanks again for taking the time to kind of watch us. We're about 35 minutes into this live stream here. Markets just opened from a New York standpoint. Chicago, obviously, pit's been open for a while for the futures, but for the E-mini pit. But you know, you always get a lot of bump around this market open in New York time. So we just got to be patient. You know, nothing crazy here. You know, we're not at the open traders usually, but so we're not going to rush it here. Watch it, let it play out, and get a direction for us, and then we'll wait for our trades opportunities once we got to have good direction and our method lines up for an opportunity, and that's what we'll make the trade. So we're just kind of hanging out, sitting on our hands, you know. Soto made a point early on this morning about 9 o'clock, right before market open, or right before channel open, I guess you could say, but we kind of jumped right into it, and he was already making a point, which was great. But for this point in time, we're just chilling out, hanging out, watching, and watching price action kind of unfold and tell us the story here, and we'll just kind of be patient until it's time for us to jump in and be a part of the story. So just hanging out. We got Mitchell and we got Soto, and so we got Paul in the chat, which is awesome. So guys, if you're new to the channel, please jump in there, say hi, and subscribe to the channel so you can be on live stream. We try to do this every day from Monday through Friday. We want to be very consistent in what we're doing even from a trading standpoint all the way down to a live stream standpoint. Everything we do, that's the key to being very successful, is being consistent in everything that we do, you know, in life in general. But as far as trading goes, it's all about consistency and being consistent in how we apply the method is extremely important. So just hang out with us. Hope you'll learn something. If you have any questions, please throw them in the chat. We would love to answer them, and then we look forward to you joining us every day from Monday through Friday from 9 to 11:30 Eastern, whatever we decide to go there, and we look forward to getting to know you. Thank you. So I'm gonna go ahead.
BK, good question here. So, you know, I'm thinking about someone who just joined and just started doing this. How much time will you suggest at the beginning to try to put in to, you know, practice and learn the method you're applying? So they watch the video, they're watching, you know, what we do, and they're saying, okay, I want to practice just picking out support and resistance, or picking out, watching price action, you know, understanding volume, and bringing all those together. Obviously, I think the answer is as much as humanly possible, but what would you say for a good, you know, realistic time frame for them to, at the minimum, to put in daily or weekly for them to increase their performance?
Oh wow, that's kind of like anything. I mean, the more time you put in, the better, right? But I would say at a minimum, you know, to get started, like, it's not a hard method, you know, and that's one thing we got to remember, where it's not overly complicated, you know, not which is a good thing, and which how we should keep it. So it shouldn't take that long to learn the method. I mean, I'd imagine if you just put an hour or so or two in a day for a week, you'll learn the method pretty good. And then at that point, it's just a matter of recognizing the method, and being disciplined to follow the checklist, so to speak, and make sure all the pieces of the puzzle are in before we take the trade. And so it's more about recognizing order flow, recognizing price action, and put that all together. That's really going to be the time that it takes to get comfortable with that. But even at that, with the method that we're using, you should have this down in a month or less. You know, to be honest with you, if you put in an hour a day in it, you should definitely have it within a month. You know, and everybody's a little different. Some people will have it in 2 days, and some people will have it in 6 months, or some people will never get it just because they want to overcomplicate it. And that's the thing we got to watch out, is that we don't overcomplicate the method, and you don't get bored with the method and try to put your own twist into the method. And that's what's going to happen, quite honestly. For a while, at the beginning, most people are going to try to put their own little twist into it and try to say, well, I can make this a little bit better if I do this or do that, and you're going to go through that phase, and that's okay. But what you'll ultimately come back to realizing is this thing is simple as it is. Leave it alone, and do what you're supposed to do, and get your mindset to say, I'm gonna make my 1 point a day and walk, and then be okay with that, because as you guys could attest, when you first start this and you start trading, it's addicting. You want to do it as much as you can, as often as you can, right? I mean,
Sure.
it's just one, because it's fun and it's exciting and it's neat, and it's, especially if you've never been exposed to it before and you didn't realize this was even out there, um, and you get exposed to it and you realize, hey, I can do this, man. This is not difficult. So I can do that. So you just have to fight a couple things. But as far as learning the method, I'd say within a month, 90% of the people will get it within a month or less if you just put in an hour or so a day in on it and study it, and really understand all the pieces of the method, and take the time to study it and master the piece, as far as the principles of why we have that as part of our method. Get really good at reading price action and understand what the wicks mean, what the bodies mean. When you put them together separately, get to understand why that's happened between buyers and sellers and what the story's telling us there. When you kind of got that piece down, add the next piece. Go to volume and understand volume. Learn why volume works the way it does, what it represents, and then start putting the two together and say, okay, price action's doing this and volume's doing this. So what does that mean? And then start looking at lots of charts to put those two to pieces, and start watching the story that's going on there, and learning how they're moving together on multiple different charts, different markets. It doesn't matter what market you trade. If it can be traded and volume can be put into it, then you can trade that chart. That's what's cool about it. So the method that we teach here can be traded on any instrument. So if you like Apple and you don't have to worry about the day trading rules in the stock market, meaning that you have to have $25,000 in your account to be able to day trade. So if you don't have to follow those rules and you want to day trade multiple times during the day, this can be done in any chart in the stock market, any stock, okay? Any kind of futures, commodities, metals, Forex, it doesn't matter. That's the beautiful thing about the method. If your cup of tea is a different market, then learn the method here. Learn what you need to learn, because this works on every market, and then go apply it to your market. So that's kind of one of the cool things I think about the method. So keep the method simple, man. Everything needs to stay simple. And what you're going to find out, the most successful traders in the world, when you put a lot of time in learning this stuff, you're going to find the most successful traders in the world are simple traders. Everything's simple. It's not overcomplicated. And you'll find that just through time by being in this world, because there's a lot of people out there who want to try to sell you on these big packages of hundreds of indicators, and that's just their business to do that, and there's a market for that, obviously, and that's okay, but we just don't need all of it. But some people just need the visual help. They feel like they have to have that, and that's just unfortunate, because it's not the case. You just have to learn to trust what you see and learn to keep things simple, and just realize the market does three things only, right? Up, down, sideways. So let's just get good at reading the candles and tell us what they're going to do, and apply the rest of our checklist, and when we see the opportunities to make the trade, and good or bad, we've made it on the right reasons, and move on. And there's one thing you're going to learn: all traders lose. All methods lose. So it's just how quick are your losses. That's kind of the name of the game here, and we have 1 point stops. So you'll find if you go to YouTube and watch a bunch of videos and start watching different methods, you're not going to see 1-point stops very often, if at all. You're going to see stops being put at pivot candle highs and pivot candle lows, or or supply and demand zones at the top of the supply and demand zones, or what have you. But you're going to see a lot wider range than 1-point stops, and people are going to tell you it's too tight to do that. You can't. The ES market especially moves too much for you to have a 1-point stop. And both Mitchell and Soto have proven that's just not the case, right? I mean, you guys trade with a 1-point stop every time you trade, right?
Right, that's correct. For sure.
Yeah, and I mean, you're very successful. Y'all have grown your accounts hundreds percent, and some of it thousands percent almost. So it can be done, man, and that's over multiple trades. So it's just learn the method, man. Put the time in. It shouldn't take less than a month. You've got it. I guess is a long-winded answer, but less than a month, you've got it.
Right. Mitchell, you're the last to learn here between the three of us. And what was if you remember, the most challenging thing to learn or to put together, if any?
Really, it was just putting everything together. I mean, the concepts and the tools that we use are simple to learn on their own. It was kind of like what I was saying yesterday, but you really have to train your mind to go through that checklist every single time, over and over and over again, and that just takes time in figuring out, because you'll forget something, or your mind wants to make a trade. So it's like, well, that looks good, that looks good, that looks good, and you may forget about volume, or you may not pay quite as much attention to price action. So it's just putting everything together in one big package over and over again, and really sticking to the method. Because as Brian was saying earlier, like, if you don't stick to the method, I mean, it's not going to work. You can't put your own spin on it. You got to do what it says, and it still may not be 100%, but it's definitely effective over time. And so I think that was my biggest thing, was just compiling everything together and applying it. Learning the tools, that's just like learning anything in life. It's very straightforward. This is what it's going to look like. This is what you should do. This is what you should look for. So nothing really challenging there. It was more just applying everything and getting efficient with going through that checklist in your mind quickly. Because sometimes you don't have much time. You may have 10 minutes or you may have 10 seconds. You got to do it really quick.
Yep, nice.
That's great. So what did you do, or what are you using to help you go through the checklist so you don't forget, so you don't overlook an item, like you said, in the volume?
And maybe I'm not doing it correctly, how I should. But my method, what I kind of do is price action first and foremost. Once I check that off, I then go to volume. Once I check volume off, well, I mean, obviously you make your zones, but I'm talking about a trade coming in. I'm looking at price action first and foremost, then volume, and then I'm looking to see, where those stops are, where those touches are, and kind of just watching that trigger candle. But I would say that that's how the checklist goes in my head. If price action doesn't check out step one, I'm out. If price action checks out but volume doesn't check out, I'm out. It's just, that's kind of how I go through it.
Yeah. What do you think, BK, to that response?
Yeah, let me kind of get this out of the way here. Yeah, I'm pulling up I mean, it's a good checklist, right? I mean, it's basic. You can do it however you want to do it. As far as the order of the checklist goes, you always kind of have what's real time. What's the most real time thing on here? And then that's price action, right? So that's kind of where I look first and foremost, is price action with the candles, and then volume jumps in and telling me the story. Okay, I got to pay attention here, and then I start putting my support and resistance zone, my supply and demand zones, And then my final piece, if I decide to use it, is order flow. And that's kind of a confirmation. But that's kind of the way I do it. It's a little bit different. I'll put a little checklist on here from that I kind of just have. I did a long time ago, but I put it on the screen here, and it's just a basic couple questions that I follow and look at. But I've done it so long, it's kind of ingrained mentally, but just starting out and just make you a little checklist, and I'll put this on the screen right here so you can see, and it's just simply, volume, price action. It's not in any particular order. When I first started, I haven't made this any better. That's probably something I should do, though, is kind of create that list and let you, and you can have that if you want it. But it's just simple, look for price action, volume, and my support and resistance zone and my supply and demand zone. Are all those confirmed? Are all those showing? Is all the pieces that's supposed to move, is it moving properly? So that's kind of simple as how I keep it. And then I have to, at that point, look for and kind of drill down even a little more and look for the right entry pattern or place for that. So that's kind of all I do, man. And like I said, I've done it for so long, it's just kind of ingrained there. But you can kind of see just some basic questions I ask myself, or you should ask yourself before you consider the trade. Is everything confirmed? Is the volume right? Is with price action, is it telling a story that coincides with each other? And then is it coming into a support and resistance zone? And if it's so, where's my supply and demand zone out of that support and resistance zone? And if I've got that drawn and it's all making sense, then that's kind of when my finger kind of gets on the trigger. How about you, Soto? How do you see it?
Well, obviously, you guys pretty much touched on everything. That's exactly what I do. I select the supply and demand zone. I think you really have taught me this, BK. You really pushed this on me. Is after I got my zone, I'm just sitting back and watching and waiting. Now, obviously, if a new zone comes up, it's created, I'll create it. But while I don't have anything in between, like right now, for me, on my chart, I have nothing right now. There's no potential trades coming up right now. The price is in the middle between two valleys, I'm in a valley, rather. So I just sit back. I actually try to walk away a little bit from the computer, not be tempted, which is kind of funny, but that's just me. But once I come into a zone, or it's coming towards a zone, I'm looking at price action, like you both said. I'm looking what is price action telling me, what's going on. Then right away, I look at volume. I'm looking at volume and price action. And then based on that, if I have my order flow, I've already decided where to go in that zone. I will have maybe at least one, obviously, but sometimes 2 or 3 entry points based on the wicks, the candle size, the volume, just kind of see how deep they're going to go. And based on all that, I will enter my trade, but I will also put my trade, I'll keep my hand on the mouse, ready to cancel it if something appears that I don't like. If I get a quick spike or something, again, that makes me feel uncomfortable, I will cancel the trade before I jump in. But once I'm in it to win it. So yeah, that's pretty much all I do.
Okay, well, you said something there I'd like you to expand on in a little more depth, and Mitchell, I'd like you to jump in on it after he answers too. But as far as, so we got all the check pieces there. We kind of beat that in there pretty good. So as far as actually, I'd like to know your precise, or it's not really precise, but I'd like to know what you're looking for as where you're going to place. You guys call it your trigger line, your blue line there, your trigger line. Where in the zone, kind of beat this in a little bit. How do you guys decide where that trigger line goes, or where are you more comfortable putting your trigger line and why?
Sure. I'll be happy to go first. I think without order flow, I'm big on order flow. I love order flow. I think it was created for me. It's big to me in so many ways. But without order flow, and here's the funny part, I've been equally successful without order flow. It's just, I feel like I'm doing a little more guessing. But I simply look at the history. I look at several candles back and look at where's the money sitting? Where are they closing and opening? The candles are opening or closing. Where are the wicks going to? And if it's in a general area, it depends on the day. Like right now, I'm up a point, so I don't mind, maybe playing a little less conservative. But if I haven't made a point for the day, I'll play a little more conservative and maybe go, take right at a lot of the open and closes. But I'll take above it. But I'm looking for dojis. I'm looking for, like I said, an open of a candle. I got multiple touches there, closes of a candle, just like we did at the 2862.5. So that's I was looking at, again, closing and opening of those candles. So does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, and one last thing. I look
pending.
I look back and to see if there was any
Order filled.
support resistance within that area. So I think, and I deleted my sum, so let's see if I can draw it back real quick. My 750, I think I had to support there the 445. Let's see. My 750 zone, which is the zone I used to make my point, I look back at, the 445. That gave me a pretty good idea of a solid place for, in this case, resistance, which is 2863. So I just went 2 ticks below that. From that zone, because I still have that room for error. And which actually I only took a tick of heat, and they never actually made it to that 2863. So, but that's something I look at.
What do y'all think about a trade at 2869.25?
69.25. Yeah, I just put in a trade. I don't know if y'all saw that.
Yes.
So
I wasn't fast enough.
Yeah, and I mean, I put that in there based on another chart, but I think it's a little premature yet. Still, to be honest with you, that's the reason I kind of killed it early. But I got a point out of the 2 positions there, but I think it's a little deeper. It's going to go a little deeper in the zone. And what did you say?
2862.25, 2869.25.
Yeah, it just entered you, just triggered you in a trade, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot. I think that's a good trade.
So what candle you guys using for that zone?
Huh?
Candle.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. What?
That candle is at 650 candle. So price is showing strength. So obviously, it did take you out there.
It did. That's my first loss on the live stream.
That's all right, man. That's fine. I thought it was a good position. I thought it would have kind of rejected a little bit more, but it's still showing strength with volume dropping and but it wants to get into. I mean, we're in a. One thing we got to remember, we're in a larger time frame resistance area, so we're gonna have to let that thing go. I think it might actually. I think a good trade in that actually is going to be. Now I look at it, it's probably going to be 71.75 area.
That's where I'm using. That's what I'm using.
I'm going to 72. I'm gonna go ahead and put it this at 72 even, and see if I can get picked up on that.
Yeah, I'm actually using the 615 zone.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. That's a good one in a larger time frame. Now it looks good, for sure, for the fact that it's busted through some of the zone where Mitchell had a trade in, and I thought it was a good spot to be there. Just price wanted to go higher. I mean, and that's just what it is, man. And that's a good example of, we're all going to lose. We're going to lose. It's just this. I consider this like baseball, man. If you're a 300 hitter in baseball, dude, you are just smoking, right? You're killing it. And that's only 3 out of 10 times being successful. But we can't take those kind of stats with our method here because it's a 1-to-1 method. So we got to win more at least 60% of the time to make good money. You know, but that still means we're gonna lose 4 times out of 10, and that's okay. And we're gonna do it. You know, so we just have to be patient and wait for what we see is the right trade. I even said it out loud. I thought that was a good trade where Mitchell went into. Everything was lining up pretty good. We just had long candles was the only concern, and I actually got in a little bit earlier, a little prematurely, and got lucky. And that's the reason I killed the trade early, or I'd have taken a loss as well. I think I killed it with maybe 2 ticks or 3 ticks of profit, and I killed it, but because I was in too early. I just got in early. You know, I think sitting in this zone up here is kind of the top of this hourly resistance. We got a long candle that's really pushing good still into that, and so I might be moving my trade here or taking it off, depending on what happens with the rest of this volume over the next 50 seconds. But if we start getting a little rejection there, I'll keep it because I think it's a good zone at 615. I think that's a good zone. I've even got it narrowed down to the 610 candle, even a little tighter. I'm at the front side of that, but I think that's a good area. But this is the beauty of live stream and live markets. You know, you're gonna take a loss, but the good thing is it's 1 point. You're not losing lots of points. You're losing 1 point, which we're gonna make back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't even see that candle. Yeah, that's why I was watching where you guys were. I didn't have that one on my books here. I had the 615. So, but again, sometimes you have to lose in order to know how winning feels like. That's how I think about it. A little reminder to keep you humble.
There you go. There you go. Well, if you look at it really in hindsight, which, you know, we could look at it and say, you know, it was a lot of contention right there. Obviously, a lot of sellers and going on because a lot of sideways action right there. So it's a good trade. It's a good spot. You know, it's just one of those things that happen, man. That's just part of it. We don't win every trade. We're not going to win every trade. And that's just how we have to watch it and how we have to look at it. We're not going to win every trade. So
Well, that's good. At least the people watching can see that we are not hiding anything. Like I said, we lose just like everyone else. We just happen to win more than we lose.
That's beautiful. That's really good.
You're so inspirational, Soda. Meanwhile, I'm over here with my lip poked out.
Oh, Mitchell. Oh.
You find that out about me, dude. I don't like to lose.
Well, I hate to break it to you, bro, but you're gonna sometimes.
Oh yeah, this is one thing that you cannot beat it. You just have to get good at it.
That's a better statement than you realize.
Order filled.
That's a better. All right, I'm into this trade, so it looks like I'm gonna get. I just got taken out. So that just shows price is gonna do what it wants to do, man. I just lost.
Yeah,
so
I did not want any part of that zone anymore.
That's
well, we all just lost. I just lost by a tick.
Yeah, that's great, but that's good that's good. I mean, actually, that's good. You know, for everybody to watch, because I mean, we've traded now live stream going. This is our 4th day, and all we've done is make points, man, for the first 3 days, right?
Right.
We've made a lot of points at this point, you know. So, I got to turn this upside down. So this is good to show that I mean, we're not hiding stuff, man. This is real. This is what happens. This is part of it. You're gonna lose, but as long, like you said, we win more than we lose, and that's what people need to see here. We're gonna lose, man, but that's okay. We're not losing 10 points at a time. We're losing 1 point. So I don't have to win 10 times to make up for 1 loss, you know? And that's a big statement. But what Mitchell said earlier, you're not going to win 100% of the time. You're never going to beat the market from a win standpoint. You're never going to win. Every time you put on a trade, you're not going to win. You know, it's just about how good you are will determine how well you do. And that comes down to how consistent are you, how disciplined are you for taking the trades. When your method tells you to take the trade, then you take the trade. And more often than not, we have proven And I've proven over a very long period of time that it's very successful to do that and be consistent. But I've been doing this for 20 years, man, and I put in a trade and lost very quickly, and that's okay. I'm perfectly fine with that, you know. So it's going to happen, not a big deal. So it's deciding, okay, recognize it, realize it. Did I make the trade for the right reasons? And if I did, then can't be upset about it. You don't like to lose. Nobody likes to lose, but if we made the trade for the right reasons, then that's okay. I can live with that versus not making trades for the right reasons and losing. That's a different story, you know. So all good.
It looks like we may be getting up in a really good area if it keeps going the way it's going.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. I think that candle you called earlier, 435.
435. So where are y'all looking about in that area? I've kind of got to look at 870, 2875, or excuse me, 2874.75. And then maybe 76.25 if I want to go uber conservative.
I'm sorry, say those again. You said they 74, 75?
Right.
Is being
And
your first entry?
76, yeah, and then 76.25.
Yeah, that's definitely being uber conservative up there, but that's okay, especially after what just happened. That's not a problem. You know, make price be on your terms again. You know, the trade if that's what you want. I think you're gonna. Let's see. Let me kind of go to the. Let me scroll in here and get a little bit more information. I actually think that's probably not a bad spot. I'd probably go in right at around 76 even. Hopefully it gets this one tick up to that 76.25 to put me into the trade. But I would actually I'd actually put in a position if price gets up to that area and volume decreasing really well, and we start waiting for those candles to slow down, which we really didn't on the last trade. If you look at it, we really didn't do that, but we just felt that it was going to have good rejection out of there. But price is not slowing down to the upside just right yet. But if we can kind of get up into that area, I'd seeing how I took the loss. I'd be a little more conservative for my second entry here, and that would be at 76 for me. And I say, yeah, I kind of say 76 just strictly if you look to the left of that candle. On those candles, you see all that resistance right there popping around. In this area here, I'm going to put a circle around it. You guys will see it in a second, it looks like. That's the reason right there I would go at 76. I think it's going to bounce on that, and hopefully it just kind of one ticks up into that and puts me into the trade if everything else lines up and come down. But I think that's going to show. I think the price is going to get to that point. You know, if it gets back up into the zone, we don't know. We're just speculating at this point. But if it gets there, then and everything else lines up, then that would be a good spot.
So the 74.25 is a little bold.
For me, it is just because I took the loss. You know.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
And I'm just a little more conservative now. I think it's a good zone, and had I not taken a loss, I might be willing to go there and give it a shot because just like I said, kind of come back into that area. There's a lot of meat right there, right? A lot of price action going on right there, supporting a lot of opening and closing. So it could be a first good move into it. It could be a first good entry if I hadn't already lost. But since I lost on this first trade, or actually on the second trade, I took one already and made a point, but came back in here and lost 2 points because I had two positions. So I'm down a point negative. So at this point, I'm going to be a little more cautious and just kind of wait for price to get into more conservative feel for me at this point. You know, knowing I'm okay. If I have to walk away with a 1 point loss net, then I'm all right with that. You know, but if I can get this opportunity at 76, I'll wait for it. So I'm just not going to be as aggressive on this one. If that makes sense.
I agree with that. There's nothing on order flow that makes me think the 74.25 is where it's at. I mean, the VPOC's right there. You know, there is a uncapped. It is uncapped right above that, so it's uncapped at 28.75. There's a previous uncapped candle. So, you know, that's kind of what was tempting me to do the 74.25.
Sure.
But I totally agree with you that 76, you're going to not only be in your zone in a really good spot, but you're at a strong spot of resistance. So you kind of have two things that'll help you out right there.
Yeah, I agree with that. So we'll just kind of watch it and see, you know. But Price is really wanting to push high, obviously. So I mean, this candle, we learned a lesson on the previous trade, right? We got into kind of got steamrolled with this price action. These candles being large and long, you know. So we kind of got steamrolled on that trade, and right now price is not slowing down. So I'm not gonna I'm not gonna put an order in here yet. I'd like to see at least one small candle or smaller bodied candle at this point before I jumped in at that, say, even at that 76. You know, even though volume's decreasing, which is great, that gives us our first sign of, okay, this might be good, but right now we just continually to push high. You know, you just look at that. I mean, that's a good rejection, possibly, but just not set up. You know, it's too long of a candle, man. It would have been a great, it would have been a good, well, no, I wouldn't even got in yet still. So, price got to 75 and rejected out of there nicely, but not happy with it yet. Gotta be patient.
Yeah, if I would have traded there, I did not. I actually removed it, but I would have been in and would have not had a point yet. I think I still would have been in it. I would have entered at 75 and a quarter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would have made a point now.
No, you'd have busted, bro.
Do what?
You'd have been good. 75. I had it on 74.25. Yeah, you'd have taken 3 ticks to heat.
Yeah. Yeah, 75 and a quarter is what I would have been at. You know, going back to the loss, I think it's important to move on, but I would have I was one tick off. Had I just been a little tick higher, I would have 2 points today, no big deal, I'm not mad or anything. I just had to walk away from the computer for a minute. So I always keep a golf club around so I can hit a couple balls after I lose, just to kind of get the anger out. But again, we're in the right spot, right area, wrong spot, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, that's all right. Short memory, man. Short memory, right?
That's right. One of the best quarterbacks for those that can't remember what happened in the last throw. So you just have to keep going.
Do you compare yourself to Tom Brady a lot?
No, they actually used to call me. I'm not going to tell you who, but no, I'm not a Tom. I think he's great. He's just not as consistent as I would like to be. So.
Wow, that's saying something since the guy's got a lifelong career and how many records?
Straight up. The straight up goat. I mean.
I'm kidding. He's great. I love Tom. Just kidding.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Well, headed back down a little bit.
Yeah, that's all right. I'd be considering at this point, I'm going to turn it on the chart just for the heck of it, but I'd be considering at this point, got a lot of red going on in the chart here, on my chart, but I would turn this area here right now into, which I'm going to do, I'm going to turn that into a demand area. So that, let's see here, that 650 candle now I'm going to turn into a demand area. So we'll kind of see, we might get back down in here before we go long. That might be our trade for the day. So we'll got another trade opportunity. We'll kind of watch.
Which candle was that?
650 candle. That doji there. on down there.
So in that area, I'm looking at 2868.5.
What's your reasoning for that?
Well, there's a lot of touches right there. And then when I look back at my order flow chart, we've got some unfilled orders right there, as well as and this may sound somewhat weird, but it's 3 ticks from the bottom of the zone.
Uh-huh.
So, if it passes me, the zone stops before I would be busted. And I don't know if that's good logic.
That is actually good logic, yeah. Because you've identified the area of that should be strong as far as a area of demand. So I use that same logic. So I think it's good logic. I have time. If I'm not perfectly right on price, at least I've given myself some strength the rest of the zone that I shouldn't bust out before the zone's broken completely. If the zone's broken completely, then I just put myself in a bad zone, right? But if the zone's good, it should get some resistance out of that, or in this case, some support out of that. And even though if I take 3 ticks of heat, I don't care if I take 3 ticks of heat. Nice, 1 tick's nice, but as long as I don't take 4 ticks and I make my point, it's still the same point, So I'll give. I understand that logic. I guess I should just say very short. It's a good logic. Nothing wrong with it. Because I will go in here at 75, kind of right in the middle of that zone, and knowing that I can do the same thing. I could take all the way down to the bottom. There would be 1 point. I'd lose a point, but I feel like it's safe for me, just for what I recognize there. I just feel like that's safe at 75. So if it gets down there at the right price for me, I'll have an entry at 68.75 to the long side.
You're actually, going back to order flow, you're actually in the perfect spot to hit that uncapped order. I would be trading on the uncapped order. You'd be trading 1 tick above it.
Yeah. And that's that's good because, I don't have order flow up. So I'm just kind of looking from experience where I think prices get to and kind of move a little bit out of that zone there. And like I said, I try to have 1 tick above BPOX and uncapped areas, because you'll see a lot of time prices just go in and cap it right to the tick and move and then go back and leave that area. So I always try to put 1 tick above a BPOC or an uncapped zone. So that's good to know. That's good. So volume's definitely cooperating at this point for a move to the long side if it kind of gets a little bit deeper for us. So volume's just really dropping off nice. So we'll just kind of keep eye on that and see if we can kind of get a little bit deeper into our zone before we look to take this trade. But I like how volume's really coming down though. That's nice.
BK, you said where were you going to go long at the
68.75.
Okay.
I'm just right in the middle of all that stuff, basically.
Since I'm still licking my wounds, I'm going 1 tick lower.
Yeah, I think that's still a great spot. Mitchell.
It takes me a couple of hours to get over it.
Oh man, we're gonna have to. You're gonna have a rough time, man. In this game, you're gonna have to let that go for this, dude. It's gonna hurt you.
Oh, I know. It'll be an early death.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Early death.
My heart's gonna give out in my 40s. I know it.
Well, maybe we should try to get you doing something different then. We don't want you to go to the grave early because of trading.
Oh, it's worth it, man. I love it.
I'm going to go ahead and put in the
Order
order.
pending.
I'm going to go ahead and put in the order. Price is slow enough. So I'm going to go ahead and look for a rejection wick out of that area. So I'm going to go ahead and put an order here, and we'll just see if it gets picked up. Oh, man, that was funny. So I got an order at 68.75 sitting right now. I'm ready to move it if it needs to be moved, but I'm ready to let it see what it's going to do. Just so you know. Oh goodness. Soda, you've been quiet, man. That's kind of unusual. What's going on?
Well, we all.
Huh?
No, nothing. Just kind of watching.
Oh, you're pouting too, man. Don't pout, man.
No. I'm good. I've taken plenty of losses before. I'm just mentally. I'm trying not to talk. One of the things I'm working on is to not revenge trade.
Yes.
And so I'm really talking to myself, being sure that this is a good trade.
I'm thinking, we got very limited time here to make this decision.
I'm already in, already. I'm 28, 68.75.
Good boys, I'm one tick below you, so.
Okay.
That's all right. Let it come a couple ticks into us and grab all of us, and then I give it.
Where you at? Okay.
I'm at 75.
Order
yeah.
filled.
I just got
Okay.
in. Yeah, I just got
We
in.
got it. We're in it to win it.
Yeah.
You know, this is where the music should come on.
Good job, boys.
Come on.
Target
Oh,
filled.
yeah.
Good job, boys.
Oh, all right. Good job.
Good job, guys.
Yep. So I'm in my second positions, locked in a tick too. So good job, man. So that puts you back up a point for the day, huh, Soto? Good job.
Yep, minus double commissions, but that's okay.
That's all right. You still bet you out a little over half a point, so that's good.
Yeah, we're still good. We're still solid, guys. We're back. We're live. It's good.
Oh man. The good thing is, right here though, you weren't scared to put the trade in. You know, that's you followed the method.
And let's take a learning lesson that Mitchell was scared.
No, that's not it. I knew that was coming. That's not how I meant it.
It's all good though. I didn't lose anything.
You did not. Good job. That's the perfect look. Good job. Good. That's a good answer. You did not lose any more.
I was hoping I would take 3 ticks of heat secretly.
Oh, that's not nice, man. Golly. Oh, I'm glad we're all supportive of each other here.
Wow.
Oh, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I only wish that on Soto.
Well, that I can understand.
Oh, okay. All right. That was nothing but positive. That was the rules of the game here.
We are positive.
Yeah, we got to ban ourselves, I guess, from the site, from the channel. It's all yours, man. It's all you, Soto. There you go. All right.
Good job, guys. Good job. That was good.
It still might very well come back, and it still qualifies.
Stop filled.
All right, I got taken out my second position at plus one more tick, so that was good. Point and a quarter on that one. But let's see. Everything still matches up. It can come back and still get you in the game if you're still in the position.
I've removed it. I mean, what is your protocol here? Would you remove it or would you leave it?
No, his volume's still telling me. I mean, I've still got rejection. I mean, I would still leave it in there because of the fact that we're still in this first entry back into the zone. You know, we haven't left the zone with a close yet. So this is still a good first entry into the zone mentality here. So I would not pull it just yet for me until volume increases and goes above my previous volume. I would still leave it because it's showing a lot of rejection, you know, and but for price to go any higher out of this zone, if it wants to grab more orders, it's going to have to go a little bit lower than it's already gone. And we're still kind of in that first touch of the zone, okay? Does that make sense what I'm saying there?
Yes, for sure.
Okay, so I'm still okay with the, you know, I just have to wait for it to come out and get me, but I'm still okay with the trade at where you're at on this trade. I'm okay with that. But if we close out of here, I would have to be a little more cautious, you know, and probably since I've already taken a loss, I wouldn't wait for it to come back in deeper if this candle can close out of this zone. If it closes in the zone, then you're still okay with it.
Well, I've never really heard that or thought about that, but that's very informative. So if the candle closes within the zone, keep it going.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we got volume still low, showing us it's not just committed to go a whole lot lower. So at this point right now, just for a real-time example, my trade's off now, okay? Because I've gotten a close now to the upside out of the zone. So now I'm not looking for it to come back in. It would be now, if price comes back into the zone at this point now, it's considered a second entry into that zone. And even though it still could be a good trade, but since I've already taken a loss, I've got to be a lot more cautious here, and I probably wouldn't take it at this point. But let's kind of go back to the previous candle. If it closes inside that zone still, okay, and volume's not spiking or volume is still very low, and the candle body's low, then I can still absolutely wait and keep my trade on in a deeper pocket there, you know, where price is at. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, that is something I needed to hear.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to write that down.
Yeah.
Need some tissues.
Oh, poor guy.
I know, boys. I was on a roll.
Yeah.
I was like 8-0.
Well,
Like Alabama football right there.
That's it.
And then Auburn came around and just whipped me.
Oh, come on now.
Go Road Tide.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, that's probably the opposite there, man.
I
Auburn just
graduated
got
from Alabama.
Yeah, I thought you did, man. I thought you did.
Yeah. I can, that's how it goes, though. We'll go perfect. And then that one game, it's like, come on.
Tell me about it.
Of all times to just forget how to play football.
It just doesn't. Yeah, it just does never. It never matters what schedule, what bad Auburn's doing all year long. When it comes to that game, man, it just.
They play us like the Patriots.
I know it, man. They got another gear for that game, man, which is cool. But yeah.
Yeah, man. Sanford Bulldogs kind of struggle with the same thing, except that instead of winning every game and losing only one, we tend to lose every game and only win one. But hey, you got to start somewhere.
Hey, got to look at silver lining, man. You got that one win, dude. That's
we got to win.
That's it. That's better than going over, isn't it? You always build on that one win, man. Build on that one win.
And if you combine our last 10 years, we got 10 wins. So that's
that's really pulling the silver lining out.
Do they pay students to go to those games?
They don't. They should. It's free for I think everyone. So it's a great place to take a date. They're like, hey, you want to go check out a football game? And they're all getting really excited, you know. And then they think they're going to go to Tuscaloosa, and then you just take them to Birmingham, Alabama.
Hey, man, the fall weather and football and the smell in the air, you can't beat it, no matter who you watch it play.
You can't beat. It can't be. So here you will not be taking a trade, correct? You're out.
Yeah, yeah. Even though volume's low, I'm done. Yeah, I'm out.
And price action doesn't look good to me right there. I don't like that big wick up top on that trigger candle, the big body forming. It may work, but I'm out as well.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that's a good way to look at it. It's gonna turned into an engulfing candle at this point, and so it's just not. That's a very bearish candle pattern, but if it works out, I mean, it's just not the right setup anymore. Volume's increasing to the downside now, so it's just not the right setup.
So you got your you got a point and a tick, 2 points and a tick.
Because 1 point and a tick, yeah.
Okay.
Because even though I got 2 contracts, I only took 1 contract off at a full point, and then moved in my second contract into 1 tick of profit, so it only netted out 1 tick, the second contract. So if we look at the team totals just right now, let's just kind of talk through it. Soto's got 1 earlier. I got 1 earlier. Soto took a loss. I took a loss. Mitchell took a loss. Took a win. So Soto's net 1. I'm net 1. And Mitchell's 0 right now. So we're still +2, for the team. So that's all right.
Yeah, that's good.
From an individual standpoint, Soto's up 1. I'm up 1. So the spreadsheet will reflect what it is, and we'll fill that out at the end of the day here.
Yeah.
But towards the end of the session, we'll update the spreadsheet to kind of keep track, because I want to keep the individual track going and the team track, because I want it to be more realistic. Obviously we're not trading as a team for everybody's own balance. Doesn't reflect that, but it's kind of good to do it as a channel, just so everybody can see, that we're all, kind of overall doing well. But from the individual side of it, I mean, as an individual, you take a loss, technically, per the channel and the method, starting out, we should have been done. We should have walked away from the computer at the first loss, right? So, but we've been doing this for a while. Everybody's okay. We're patient. Took another trade, and it worked out, and a couple more trades. So we've taken 3 trades, and we net one as profit, which is great. So we'll reflect that on the spreadsheet there. But I just want everybody to see both sides of it, so somebody doesn't look at the spreadsheet and say, "Man, I'm already up 60% after 3 days." Well, that's just not going to be the case when it's just you trading 1 contract. So I want that to be realistic. So that's usually I asked you to put that in there.
Yeah. Do you want the 3 individual for each of us, or just one of us?
No. Yeah, just one of us. I mean, we don't need to keep score of what each of us are doing. That's kind of the team thing. Unless y'all want to, if y'all want to do that, then I'm okay with that too. But I just mainly was doing that for somebody that's watching the channel, just starting to trade, and they can kind of see what 1 point a day it will do, and we're going to show the 1 point a day of loss in there too, so I'll probably, quite honestly, reflect the individual today as a loss, just to show that, hey, because that's kind of the hard side of it, is for what we're doing here. Do we pick our winner or do we pick our loser that we put on there for the 1 point?
Well, I think, my understanding is the individual, being in this case me, I've traded 3 times, netted 1, 30, netted, a little less, $36.56, $36.56. So I think in our system you can put in, contracts traded 1, points 1, 2, points lost 1, and it will calculate how much you would have made. So unless and if we're only going based on 1 point, then it should have been the first one I made today, which was a win.
And you're right. I mean, that's kind of what I'm going to go off of, the first trade of the day. I think that's the best way to do it, and you've made a point, so we'll put that as 1 point. So I think that's kind of what I want to do for that individual stuff, because I just want it to show that just like I want it to be what I've shown you, as far
Right.
as what 1 point a day will do, win or lose, and how
Right.
that compounds and works out. So that's kind of what I want to do. So we're going to we'll go ahead and make that kind of what we do from here on out. The first trade that's taken in the day, win or lose, will go into the individual stack.
Okay.
So today we're still plus 1 point today, so good job. We'll put that on there because technically what I want people to do, just take the 1 point a day challenge is
Right.
you make your point or you lose your point and you walk with a small
You walk.
account. That's how you have to do it with a small account, man, realistically. So that's how you should do it starting out, but when you guys trading like you have been and done very, very well, then when your account's grown like it has, then you can afford to take a few more trades. But
Sure.
but starting out for somebody that's just got $1,000 account, we need to just show that, hey, you're either going to take 1 point or lose 1 point, man, one of the two. And we stop, win or lose. So I don't want that reflected based on our performance of the first trade we take, or whoever takes the first trade. I want that put on there. But as far as a team, we're going to have 2 and 3 trades a day possibly.
Sure.
But that's not going to be common for the first person. Just starting.
No, but even if you look back, I think it was on Monday, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't trade at all. I entered, I positioned a trade, but I didn't get picked up. If I'm not mistaken, was that Monday or Tuesday? So yesterday. But regardless, the point is that I can go, meaning me also anyone viewing, we can go a whole day without trading. We can not trade, it's okay, and we still going to average. It goes to average 3 points a week. We're going to end up averaging that a little more. So, I think that shows that it's okay, like you said, put the first, whatever we get first, if any, win or lose. But again, there's going to be times we don't trade. That's equally as good. So.
Yep, agree. Yep.
And again, I would have made my point this morning, and honestly, it was such a great point. I would have just walked away. I've learned from you that you stay here a little longer. Next time you take 3 trades just to net 1 less commissions. I could have just walked out and say 8 a.m. this morning and play golf. I feel the golf course run out. And based on my golf skills, I will be still on hole number 2 from 8 o'clock.
That's somebody like a caddy for him for $50.
That's it right there. He'd have the disposable income to pay you. That'd be awesome. All best from the market.
That's right.
Can't play today, boys. I'm gonna have to work.
I gotta go.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. We got about 24 minutes left in the session, probably, since we've traded as much as we had. I don't see us going past 11 unless we just see something we can't.
We picked up a subscriber too.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, we saw that yesterday, didn't we? That's good, man. We need to grow the channel. It'd be fun to have more people on here, more interaction. We'll definitely, instead of just us 3 chatting, which I enjoy, it's a lot better than when I was just doing it. So it'll be more fun when we got more questions to ask, and everybody can kind of give their opinion on that too. So that's going to be great as the channel grows. That'll be good.
I traded three times in that spot. What do I have? This is 10:40.
Definitely want to get out of this area.
Yeah, volume's just not quite high enough for it. I actually have 2 trigger lines, and it has respected both of them, the last candle and this candle. But I did not trade on it.
That's good to show though that that the good side about that is at least we're finding the right areas of where we got action, where it should be resisted or there's sellers in that area, so we're able to pinpoint that ahead of time, which is good. I mean that's always positive.
Around mid-September, I'm gonna be gone for about a week on the channel.
Okay.
Just giving a heads up, I will become a married man.
Good for you, man. Oh man,
There you go, buddy.
that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Where you going? You mind me ask where you going on your honeymoon?
No, not at all. We're going to Thailand.
Nice, man. That's sweet
Yeah.
right there.
Going all out, I guess. 29 hours worth of flight each way.
Yeah. Woo.
I guess you haven't seen the travel warnings for Thailand right now?
No, I don't think so. It'll be all right. I blend in well, man. I don't rock the boat.
You're the whitest I've ever met. You're like 6'2".
I am a little tall, but I don't rock the boat. If you want to rob me, I'll give you everything I have.
Yeah, I doubt that. But
I'm not gonna try to. I do that a lot. I go overseas quite a bit. So I'm kind of used to the flying and the being in foreign places. I enjoy it. The fiance, however, has not ever been out of the country, so she's going all in on the first trip.
yeah, that is an all-in first trip.
I told her, I was like, you're like a level 3, and this is a level 8.
But Thailand, what a great place to go, man. People are.
I know, it's gonna be beautiful. We're going to
man.
Yeah. Going to the islands down there around the Phi Islands and all, so
Awesome.
it's going to be beautiful, so I'm excited about that.
That's great.
Staying in a treehouse.
That's gonna be
Over
great.
water or actually on land?
It's on the beach, like one of the big trees on the beach, and they build these, it's like a little tiki treehouse. It's got a little private pool inside the treehouse. It's pretty awesome.
Oh, okay. So you're not staying in one of the huts out over the water that you.
No, it's going to be right on the beach.
That's awesome.
So,
That's actually pretty cool there.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited.
Well, good for you, man. Congratulations. That's awesome.
And I may still be able to trade because they're plus 13, so
Yeah.
about bedtime will be 8 a.m. here.
Yeah. Don't do that, man. A little word of advice. Don't do that on your honeymoon, man. Just enjoy your wife.
She's gonna trade
She's gonna
No. I've been married 20 years, going on 20 years, and just, yeah, man, you need your wife to be happy. Don't take the trading game with you, bro.
On day one, and then you get there.
Y'all know when I saw it on, like coming to you from the other side of the world.
That's all. That would be cool, though. I'm not gonna lie. That'd be kind of neat to have you in from Thailand, but we can definitely say we're international at that point. But
Yeah, exactly. We're global. There we go. Fine.
There's the break.
Yes.
Very good.
Oh, man, that's me. Gosh.
I was ready for that. So I guess at this point we can turn the 1025 or 1030, whichever you like better, into a demand zone.
Yep, you could. Yeah, you could definitely turn that into demand zone. Yep.
You didn't sound too confident. Sound like a yeah, or like yes,
No,
for
you
sure.
know you can at the 1030. You can for sure. Yeah, 1030 or the 1025. It don't matter. But I would say 1030 for. I would make that your zone to the long side. And I'll go ahead and mark one up for you. But
You don't think they get down?
No, I was looking at a different spot. I was looking at my. Or I was looking going back to the 435 candle that just busted through I thought you were going to refer to that, and that's not ready yet to be turned into a demand zone. So that's all I was going to say. But no, what you're saying though, that's the right candle for demand zone now. Yes. So let me. Yep, there we go. So I'm going to kill this big zone we got there.
I deleted that zone we just went through. And that's my own personal, I'm still not, that's where I struggle. That's definitely my weakness is flipping zones when they were supply, flip them to demand, and demand, flip them to supply. I definitely recognize that weakness. So I just, a lot of times we'll just delete them out. And it's frustrating though, because when it comes back down, I definitely see it respecting in that area. But it just helps me not get confused. I definitely take less trades. That's why typically Soto will double me. But it's just kind of my own, keeps my sanity.
Yeah, and that's perfect. I mean, that's a great answer because there's a lot of people that will relate to your feelings right there and the way you trade on that. So I think that's very good that you do that. Just if you're not comfortable with it, just don't even mess with it, man. One day you'll get comfortable with it and you'll start being more aggressive with that. But for right now, I mean, you're doing the right thing. So good job, good job. Got a good close out of that, so I can flip this zone now, which I'll do. I'll go ahead and flip it and turn it into a demand zone up there, but being cautious with it, obviously, because we're not. I'd like to have another close out of that before, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it because it moved out of there pretty good.
Which time? 4:30?
Yeah, I've gone ahead. You'll see it on the chart show up right now where I've flipped it. But I'm going to go ahead and flip that zone to a demand zone at this point. Not saying I would trade out of it. I'm just saying you're going to get I can go ahead and tell you, you're going to get a bounce at 75.75 out of that zone. You're going to get you're going to get a little bit of rejection there, whether it's enough to get us a point, whether it meets the criteria of our trade or not. I don't know yet, but I know you're going to get a little bit of bounce just because there was a lot of resistance that's now been busted. Yeah, that's going to act as a support area, at least for a little bit, at least for probably a point or two. But so not saying we're going to trade it yet. I'm just letting you know it's there, and that's my reasoning for doing that. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to go, while we're being patient here, I'm going to go ahead and pull in the, try to pull that off. I'm going to go ahead and pull in the chart here, Dad. Let me do that. All right, so from the individual stats, we made 1 point today. So we'll go ahead and add that in. 0 points lost. I'll go ahead and add those two there. So good. So kind of show you commissions taken out and what counts up to right now. So the last 4 days, we've netted 1 point a day from as an individual. If you were just taking a trade, either win or lose your first trade out of the day, whether it be a winner or a loser, you walk away. All 4 days thus far, they've all been winners, so we're ahead for the week at this point. We want to net 3 a week. We could actually walk away for the rest of the week and we would be plus, so that's good. But anyway, we're up Our account started at 1,000. It's 1179.20 at one point a day. Okay, that's net after commissions. So from an individual standpoint, you're right on track. You did great there. So there you go. You guys see that on the screen yet?
I do.
Mhm.
Okay, good. So there we go. So we net 1 point as an individual. So good job. Count up $179.20 after commissions thus far. So good job. So now we'll go over to the group, and we'll kind of just let that hang for a little while. But you can see what we've done so far as a group here. Kind of put everybody's points in here. We can see that we're up $593 on a $1,000 account thus far. Trading 1 point stop. You know, that's the big key here. Is we're only doing 1 point stops. You know, we're going to have a couple net point losses here today, but we're still going to be net positive for the group here. But we're going to show you some losses today, but I'm not going to mark those until closer to about another 5 or 10 minutes, just in case some kind of trade comes up that we decide to take here. But I'll leave that up for the next few minutes, and you kind of see what that's going to do as a live stream group, I guess you could say. We'll kind of keep that running.
Metro, are you looking for a potential trade here to go long?
We're
The what was it, 445, 450 candle?
I think I deleted it out, man.
Oh, okay. You're waiting for the 1030 candle if it gets down there.
Mhm. I mean, I like it. There's definitely some juice down there. So, because you called me out, bro, I'm gonna make it.
No.
I'm gonna see what we got. I'm throwing a trigger line in, and I'm gonna go back over.
I was just asking, bro. I was just trying to hear what your thoughts are. So
That is lower than the 1030 if you're using the 4.
or what's that? BK, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're all over the place, man.
It's 435.
Okay, that makes more sense, bro.
Yeah.
We've been through this zone like 3 times, haven't we?
We just turned it into it was supply, now we just turned it into demand zone.
Okay. Let's see what we got. I'm looking, if I was to take a trade, 2875.25.
75.25?
That's where I would go
Okay.
if I were to go.
Well,
And I do need to come back even up, so.
but you don't have to do it today. You got, you can,
Did y'all not just hear I have to go to Thailand? Delta's not giving me free air miles, I promise. I thought to tell Madeline to stay in the room only. We don't have a seat, baby.
That's funny. I'm looking at 2876.0. Do you think that's too aggressive, BK?
Too aggressive? Not necessarily, no. I'd be at 75.75 there, but no, I don't think 76 too aggressive. I mean, you got room to make it run, but I wouldn't be too aggressive since you're up a point for the day, because the zone at 76, the zone's more than a point, you know. So I would, you know, I wouldn't be too aggressive with that, but I'd make it come down to support, you know, at this point, and make me bust through one tick of support, and then grab strength around the 75 to the 50 area is where I would go in. I'd go in at 75, but I'd make it bust through that support a little bit first.
Gotcha.
You like my 75.25, 75.50? That's around where you were saying?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I like the 50. I mean, I'm gonna go at 75 if it comes back, but I think I like the 50 better than 25, just for the fact that I don't want it to have to just. It's gonna take too much strength to push through that support as it is. If it's gonna meet my kind of on a low volume, if it's gonna meet my trade criteria, it's gonna have to push really good to get into a couple more ticks out of it to the downside, and so I'm gonna be a little bit more aggressive, and I'll stay at 75, but I like 50 too. Yeah. I'm not gonna like anything if nothing happens in the next 6 minutes.
You're gonna get your cleats on.
That's it. That's it, man. Head to the gym. Go work out a little bit first.
I'm gonna have to play golf with you boys one day. I have never played a game of golf.
Have you not?
I mean, and it is something that I've wanted to do my whole. I need to do. I mean, I'm in the business world.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
constantly
surprised you
going
don't.
to meetings and stuff. And
Yeah.
I'll go to the golf course, and I'm really good at driving a car. But yeah, I've just never. I mean, I played some top golf. I know how to swing a golf club, that kind of thing. But just never something. You know, my dad wasn't into it, so naturally I kind of did what he did when I was growing up.
Well, sure. Yeah, I was gonna say, knowing your dad and speaking to him, I don't remember him ever playing golf much.
I can tell you he's never played golf in his life. He does not want to play golf.
Yeah.
Okay, he'll tell you real quick.
That's all right, man. That's perfect. But I know
But he
people.
would like it. He's just, he would always was into other things. He was working on old cars or riding a boat somewhere, and so naturally that's what I did. But
Absolutely. Yeah. Those are good. Those are cool things.
so one day Soto keeps telling me that he's going to take me and show me up, which is not saying much, being that I've never played a game of golf.
I never said that. I said, we'll go hang out, have a good time.
I doubt that stuff. I'm sure you threw a couple jabs in there, Soto.
Now, we're talking about tennis. Yes.
Oh,
I would. You got that.
I got you. I forgot.
I stopped the other day at the tennis court. People thought I was a pro. I'm like, no, guys, just one of the average person out here. Having a good time.
Okay.
They thought I was the U.S. Open, and we're like, hey, why aren't you in New York? I'm like, no, guys, just hanging out. But yeah, no big deal.
No big deal? Okay.
No big deal. You know, you gotta stay home for the game, you know.
That's good. I'm glad you see the need for that.
What do you think here, BK? Do you think it's gonna come down, take us up?
Oh, it's going to come down, yeah. I don't have any doubt it's going to come down.
Maybe tomorrow.
Our time frame.
Yeah, it's not going to come down for me in the next 3 minutes, I don't think. But that's just me. So, but I think it's going to come down and give us a trade opportunity if you want to hang out for a little while and do it. I'm just, and if I want to hang out, we can. I'm just not going to take the trade. But go ahead and figure out this. So we 450 today, 4.5 points won, 3 points lost. So we net 1 point positive. Okay, 1.5 point positive. All right, nice. So we're still net positive, which is good.
Great.
So we added $36 to the balance. That's great. So 16.29 and we're up. So that's good. As a team, that's great, man. That's very good after 4 days, being up 63%.
Great.
That's good. All right, so everybody, you can see here, We won 4.5 points today between all three of us. We lost 3 between all three of us, and we net out 1.5, and then minus commissions of $39 for all the round turns there. 5.25 commission. Then give you $36 profit. So 16.29.60 is the balance as of the end of the day. So as my grandpa used to say, you never go broke making a profit, and that's true to an extent, because we actually can do that. But I like the general idea of it. You know.
That is.
Yeah, so good job today, guys. Good job. Okay, we'll go ahead.
I think it's good. Honestly, it's good for not that we're excited to lose, but I think it's good for the viewers to see us. You know, to show them that we are doing this a lot. We do lose. We all happen to lose to them.
Yeah, all three of us lost. That's cool. Yeah.
Great.
And I did never revenge trade. I did not trade again. So I am just sucking that loss up.
But that's a valuable lesson to learn right there.
It truly is. It's one of those things that tomorrow, I believe, when I come in, you know, I'm going to be even more conservative than I was today. So it definitely helps. It's good to lose. It keeps you humble.
Yeah, absolutely. But here's the big thing that you just said, that you'll come in tomorrow. You're going to live to fight for tomorrow because of the fact you didn't revenge trade. You had a very tight stop, so you lost very little in the overall scheme of what your account size is. You've lost very little versus taking a 10-point stop because we want to be right. We can't accept our ego can't accept being wrong. So instead of having to fight that and try to make back, and instead of trying to win 3 or 4 trades just to make up one loss, you're not having to do that tomorrow. Tomorrow's just a new day. You know, you're way up in the account, so which is awesome, but you're not having to overcome a big deficit tomorrow. So that's a huge lesson in itself from a balance trading standpoint, from a psychology standpoint. That is a huge lesson, and that's a very reason why we don't put stops at the high of swing trades or pivot candles and all this kind of stuff that a lot of these people teach about having 5-10 point stops. We just don't do that, man.
And it also is a valuable lesson in, you know, we knew we were going to be in that right area. All three of us thought we were going to be in the right area. We could have easily canceled out that 1-point stop because we said, oh, well, it's not going to go very much further and we're going to come back. But had we done that, we would have lost 4 or 5 points.
Absolutely.
So, you know, it was, you know, I think that's something we need to preach too, that no matter what it looks like, let it lose or let it win. Don't try to mess with it.
Absolutely right. Good job. That's exactly it. All right, so are you going to take this trade right here, Soto?
I'm in it to win it. 28.76. Volume is decreasing. Looks like may not get picked up, and may just take off without me here.
I think it's going to pick you up. I think it'll pick you up.
Got you, Soto.
Are you guys trading? Are you guys doing
60,
it?
right?
I'm at 28.76.
Yeah, 76. I mean, yeah. So it just took you in, right?
I'm in it to win it. Took a couple ticks of heat here. Negative 50. Negative.
So I would have been at 75, but you're in it.
Get out of here.
So we'll see here. You know. We'll see.
I'm in the trade. I probably should have gone 1 tick low.
Yeah, maybe not. You don't know. I mean, it's going to bounce a little bit here, and we know that. It's just a matter if we get enough of a bounce to get out of the position before it comes back and gets us. But
yeah. Mitchell, are you trading? Did you trade?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, let me tell you, skills to make up. Boom. There it is.
yeah,
You know, that's how we do it here. You know, that's how I do it. I never go home with just a point. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I've already marked you out for a point, so I'm not even adding that to the.
I can change it. I have full access to it. No big deal. Let me go in there. Add it to the team effort.
Change it, yeah. Go for it.
Yeah.
I didn't take mine, even though I would have had my point. I didn't take it.
Did you trade?
No, I did not.
Okay. So no, that was a good trade. That was good. You were in a bad spot. You were taking 1 feet.
Yeah. I mean, we knew it's going to bounce there, right? I mean, it's just too much old resistance there for it not to. That just means there's still buyers there, you know. So we're gonna. I mean,
And so if this candle closes in the zone, would we consider that, still a good area again?
I wouldn't, just for the fact now I got volume high above. If you look at volume, you got a lot bigger volume
Than the
downside.
previous candle.
Yeah, so I wouldn't at this point.
And honestly, that is what kept me out of the trade. Is when I looked down there, volume was even with the last candle, and we had 3 minutes left. And that kind of freaked me out. And whether that's something that maybe I don't need to pay as much attention to, but when I looked down there, my volume bar was even with the previous candle, and we still had 3 minutes. I knew that support was right there, and I was afraid that if volume spiked, it would go through the support and just keep going.
Yeah, that's a good observation. Yeah, I mean, that's a good call. I can't fault you for that one bit. So that's good that you're going through that checklist in your mind and you're recognizing that. That's reading price action. So good job. Good decision to stay out. That's a good reason to stay out of it.
I'm still not convinced that Soto is not psychic. We're just going to have to dive into that as we go.
Yeah, absolutely. We're at the we'll get into that later.
I can't. BK, you would have been in the trade and got it. I think before I did. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all in all were absolutely great. If I would have traded where I was going to trade, it would have come to me, but not filled that candle, so I would have never entered. It capped that candle where I was sitting, so it got to me, but didn't place any orders there, so nothing good would have come of it.
Yeah.
But nothing bad came of it either.
There you go. That's right. Make sure you throw that in there. That's exactly right. Right,
This is good. I just said one last thing is I think one of the things I'm going to start doing just for the sake of the channel and for you guys is I'm going to start the day off with a point and I'm going to end up being closing the day with a point just to kind of keep the mood going for you guys. So I'll be happy.
Well, thank you. If that's what you're going to do, then I'm just going to go ahead and give you $1 million or $2 million, and you just make sure you do that every day.
Right.
If you can do it just by saying it, then we're gonna ride you like a freaking mule.
I don't need to do this.
Yeah.
Got that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm good with just a percentage.
Oh, that's funny. All right, guys, man, I enjoyed it. Thanks. Good job today. I think today was very educational from a losing standpoint, psychology, and how we talked through that, and I'll be able to come back out and make another trade or not based on the right reasons. So good job today, guys. I think that's a good lesson today. So,
Awesome.
all right, guys. Well, I'm going to sign off and kind of kill this live stream. So you guys have a great day, and we'll see you again in the morning at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. All right.
Sounds great. See you then.
All right, guys. See ya.